Good evening, everybody. I'm Brandon, and I'm here to teach y'all how to dye some discs. This is a disc that I have dyed recently, and it says UNT on it because that's where I go. Now, I've been playing disc golf for about 5 years, and I've also gotten into dyeing discs. Ashley, my girlfriend, the one that's recording it, has got me into dyeing discs. But before we begin, let's start off by introducing each other. I'm Brandon, and let's play a game called Two Truths and a Lie. I'm going to tell two truths and one lie, and it's your job to figure it out. So, like I said, I've been playing for about 5 years. I've been playing hockey since about 8 years old, and I'm going to be graduating this semester with 1 degree, and I just started dyeing discs within a year ago. How about the audience? Let's introduce the audience.
My name's Evan. I've played disc golf a few times. I have type 2 diabetes, and I enjoy baseball a lot.
Alright, I'm Bryce. I'm still in college. I am a delivery driver, and I drive a blue car.
What about you, Ashley?
My name's Ashley. I love animals, and I only have 9 toes.
That is very interesting. Alright, well, my lie was that I only have 1 degree. I really have 2 degrees. I'm going to have an associate's in business at Collin College and a bachelor's degree at UNT for applied technology and performance improvement. What was your lie, Evan?
That I have type 2 diabetes.
That is a bad joke.
Sorry.
What about you, Bryce?
That I'm still in college.
Nice. What about you, Ashley?
That I love animals.
Aw, what? So you really have 9 toes? That is awesome. Well, I guess we could go ahead and get started here. So, the first thing I'm going to do is go over the types of discs that are good to dye versus what isn't good to dye. This disc is not a good disc to dye. This is very plasticky. It almost feels rubbery. Y'all could feel it if you'd like. And what happens is the dye doesn't absorb very well into it. And it doesn't hold after it's dyed. So now let's get into discs that you can dye. This is Champion Plastic right here. You want to do anything higher than Champion Plastic. If you do anything lower, it's not going to fit. It's going to fade and it's not going to look very good. It's going to bleed all over the place. What I'm actually going to do with this disc is I'm actually going to wipe the stamp, and we're going to dye this one via the glue method. And I'm going to get to that in a second.
Nailed that one as well, Nancy.
Yeah, absolutely. If you'd also like to see, these are other 2 dye methods that I've done. This is the glue method for both of these. So if y'all would like to see those as well,
please,
you can. And I think my PowerPoint's running, but if it's not, let me know. It should be running. I can't really see it.
I'll let you know.
Also, I have some liability waivers for y'all to sign. If you get injured or something, I need you to know that I won't be paying for any of it.
Gotcha.
I'm just kidding. This is all instructions on what to do and what you need for it. It's very important to have all the materials, otherwise you'll be stuck not being able to dye. So, y'all want to get started?
You had me looking for a pen a sec for a second.
I know it. I'm signing your life away. So we're going to go ahead and wipe the stamp off of this one first. This is, like I said, this stamp is going to be wiped away, and we're going to go ahead and get started on that. So first you want to go ahead and take a paper towel, fold it up a little bit. I mean, you don't want it to have any prints on it, but if it does, it's not the end of the world. You're going to take some acetone. Be careful, don't inhale this, ingest this, swallow it, or anything else. It's not really good for you. So you want to just dampen the cloth a little bit and make sure it's running a little bit, and that's about it. You might want to apply a little bit of pressure like this, and it's going to take maybe a couple minutes to get it completely off, but it shouldn't take too long. It's coming off pretty well.
Is that necessary?
It is not necessary. There's a couple discs that I have in here. Like this one, it actually came with that coyote on it.
Gotcha.
I dyed it around it. Now this is with the shaving cream method, but it is not necessary. But now keep in mind, depending on what color you're dyeing it, a black obviously isn't going to get affected. I mean, it's hard to dye black on top of that. But if you have, say, a white stamp or a gold stamp, like right here, this isn't going to dye as well. So what I did is if I dye this one, I actually covered this up with some contact paper. Y'all could see it right there. That way, when it is done, it's going to still be visible, that gold stamp. Because these dyes affect these discs very differently. So and if you look at it now, it looks like it's just about done. A couple small pieces here left.
What kind of dyes are there that you'll be using?
So that's a good question. I'm glad you asked that. The dyes that I'm using is iDye Poly. And in fact, today I went to Hobby Lobby to get some more to show you a package of it. Unfortunately, they don't have them anymore. Joann's does, to my knowledge. That was the last place I got them as well. And it worked really well. I did get this at Hobby Lobby today. Now, this is RIT Dymore. Be very careful with RIT Dymore because, unfortunately, well, with RIT as a whole, they used to make a really good contact paper and dye, but they changed their chemicals since then, and it doesn't dye very well.
Okay.
So be careful with that. I haven't tried this one. This one is supposed to dye polymers really well, which is exactly what all this is, but I'm skeptical to try it. So I'm not going to waste my time with this just because I want to show something for sure. So after doing that, I want to close that up. You don't really want to be breathing this all day long. And this is ready to dye. You want to make sure it's nice and clean. So you might want to, wipe it off a little bit more just to make sure it's good. Now, this acetone will eat through the discs if you're not careful. Don't let it sit in acetone for quite some time. A little bit goes a long way. So I'm going to do this glue method here. And unfortunately, it takes a little bit to dry. But as you can see here, that this one's already dry. You see the texture and whatnot? Y'all could feel that. It's all dry. It's not going to get your hands messy or anything.
That's the glue, yes?
That's the glue. This is just Elmer's glue.
What's the difference between shaving cream method and the glue method?
Well, different results. You can theoretically get the same results. You can do them both. If you want to use a glue method with the shaving cream method, you can. It's just a combination of. I want to keep it simple here today, so I'm only going to show one up to two methods, depending on how much time we have. So this one is ready to go, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do this one. I like to put it over a surface that it doesn't matter what happens to it. If it gets messy, it doesn't matter. As you can see, this table is has seen some paint before, so we're good. So what I'm doing is I'm just basically putting it on here. However you want to do it. You could get creative, you could not be creative, you could do it however you want to. Because ultimately it's your disc and that's all that matters. And if it's someone else's disc, it doesn't matter either. As long as it looks cool, right?
That's exactly right.
So this one, like I said, it's going to take a little bit to dry, so you're not going to actually be able to see this one being dyed. But you'll see another one being dyed. And it does, while you're dyeing it, it does take about, I typically leave it in overnight. And that way it really lets the dye collect onto the disc itself. And so, get it however you want. I mean, the more the merrier here. The more you have, the better it looks. And the more colors don't show. That you don't want, anyways. Does that make sense?
Makes plenty of sense. Could you leave the glue on, even?
That's the point.
I mean, after you let it dry.
So, that is the point. Like, when I actually dye it, I'm going to be putting it in just like this.
Okay, gotcha.
With the glue on. And so what's going to happen with that is everything that's on here, the glue is going to cover the actual disc from it. Everything that's not covered is actually going to get dyed. Okay. So does that make a little more sense?
I think he means
Yes.
after you dye it. You wipe it off, right?
Well, so after you dye it, what happens is the glue typically comes off in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So then you rinse it off. It gets a little messy,
I
but
see.
then it comes right off, and then you have something like this.
So it comes off no matter what.
Yes.
Gotcha, okay.
This is, and the cool thing is it's non-toxic. No one's going to die from this glue. It's safe glue. Don't eat it, though. So I'm just going to finish this up. And it's just about done. And it should look however you want it to. I like mine particularly to look like this.
Like a cinnamon roll.
Exactly like a
toaster
cinnamon roll.
strudel.
I mean, you could try to eat this if you want. It's probably not going to taste very good.
Might hurt a little bit too.
It might hurt a little bit, but you know what? You are welcome to try it if that's what you want to do. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you how I dyed this one. So like I said, last night I got all the glue ready and it's ready to go. It's dry. It's caking on the edges. Now, you'll see what it's going to look like after this. But what you want to do is you want to put some water in. Don't want to overfill it or anything, but you want it to be enough to where it fills the entire plate without the disc itself sinking. So it's cool because there's some dog hairs in here. I have 2 dogs, so dog hairs gets on everything. Now, what colors would y'all like to do? You can only do 1 color at a time with this. So the colors that I have that would be good for this, I have blue, gunmetal, black, green. Green wouldn't be too good. Those are the best dark colors that I have.
What about pink and gunmetal?
The problem with pink isn't going to show up
Okay.
on
It's
this
already red.
because it's already red. So, and you can only do 1 color at a time when you do this method. You can eventually put more than 1 layer on it. It just, you have to re-glue it every time you do it.
What color do you think we should use?
I don't care. We can go with anything.
Green.
Go with the green.
Green? Okay, we're going to go with green then. So, this dye, don't want to inhale it. It smells pretty bad, but you want to put enough on it to make a difference. So you're going to put it on here. Stir it up after that. Now it looks a little funny in here, but I assure you it is green. And it might look a little weird, but it should turn out pretty well.
It's a bit like swamp water.
A lot like swamp water. And again, with swamp water, you don't want to inhale, ingest, anything like that. You don't want to do that with this either. This is, I would say it's somewhat hazardous chemicals. You don't really want to be around it for too long. You're supposed to be working in a ventilated area. Now, when you set this in, it's very important not to have air bubbles. If you get any air bubbles, what's going to happen is there's going to be a blotch of it where it just looks like the ink didn't hit it at all.
Okay.
So you want to set it in very gently. You want to make sure the water itself is not moving at all. And then just set it in. And there you go. You want to set that overnight and be good to go on that one. So, would y'all like to try out a shaving cream method? This is a fun method.
Yeah, please.
Cool. So we're going to let this sit here and let it do its thing. Now I'm going to dye this disc. Like I said, I've already put the stamp over that, so nothing's going to happen with that. I don't care about the other. I could wipe it, but I'm also alright with it just staying like it is. So you're going to take another dish comparable to this. Now these I got at Walmart. You could get any sort of pie dish or anything. These are great. I paid like, I don't know, 50 cents each one. And they're great. They're washable. The dye doesn't stick on it very well. So they're great. They have a lot of benefits to it. So here's the fun part. So you take some shaving cream.
What is saran wrap method?
That's a method that you basically take some saran wrap, crumble it up into a ball, and then put it into something like this, but you have a base on it. You put a heavy book on it, so then it takes the design of the saran wrap.
Oh, okay.
I've never tried it like that. I don't really care to. It's just not my thing. I like these methods better, but whatever floats your boat. So you just want to fill this up. You don't need too much of it, but you do definitely need enough to fill up the dish. I'm also going to put a little bit of water in it just to make it flow a little bit easier. Now, I think my favorite method is the shaving cream method. With the shaving cream method, you could really get a disc exactly the way you want. So you want a smooth texture. Might have put a little too much water in, but it's alright.
And you get a nice shave.
Most importantly, you get a nice shave, and after you're all done, your discs will smell really good too, depending on what kind of shaving cream you use. I bought the cheap stuff at Walmart because it doesn't really matter.
I prefer the lavender scent myself.
So you want to just whip it up real good, and just make sure it's nice and smooth. Now, what I would recommend doing is, once it's all situated, just making sure it's all even. You don't want any air holes if at all possible. What happens with an air hole is, as I discussed earlier, you'll get an air bubble, and that doesn't look as good as a professional disc. Now, by no means am I a professional dyer here, but it's just a hobby. So you want to make sure this is nice and smooth. And this is messy. Don't wear anything that you really care about. The dye itself can get all over you. If it spills, it's not fun. It will ruin anything you're wearing. So just make sure you're wearing something that doesn't matter if it gets wet or ruined. What colors do y'all want to do on here? The world is it's open here with this white disc.
It's our oyster, huh?
Yeah.
I chose the last one. You choose this one.
I guess we can get pink on this one. So
Alright, we're going to do some pink on this one. And I like the brighter colors because they really stick out more. So, there's no rhyme or reason to this. However you want to do it, works well. And the cool thing about this is you get a whole bunch of designs that you aren't necessarily expecting, but when you pull it out, it looks awesome.
Doesn't seem like you used very much this time as opposed to
No,
last
exactly. I didn't. And the cool thing is when this sits in, it's going to come out and it's going to have more of a ripple effect, something comparable to this.
Cool.
So, and we're not done. I'm going to be putting a lot of colors in this one, which is one other reason why I really like the shaving cream method, because you can put so many colors in it. But now I'm not done with the pink either. I am going to add some more.
Your PowerPoint's done.
That's fine. Y'all holding up so far? Not too boring?
Holding up pretty well over here.
Good.
It's actually very informative and interesting.
So, like I said, there isn't a right or a wrong way to do this, but ultimately what you want to do is you want to make sure it's all flat. And I'm going to be adding more colors. It's going to look really cool when it's all done, but I'm not done here. I'm just really getting started on this. Have a good base layer to work with, and I'm going to basically just keep piling it on. What color next?
Blue.
How about light blue?
Okay, yeah.
Cool.
Like the sky.
Is that powder?
It is powder.
Ah, okay, because I thought it looked like liquid at first, but then yeah.
So this is liquid. This is the Dymore synthetic liquid. Like I said, I haven't tested that. I don't know how well that works. I've heard it works well, but I don't want to bring something that I don't know works well. So on this, I'm just going to kind of play with it a little bit.
Is this where you would put a small design in if you were looking for one?
Depends. If you want a stencil design, my recommendation for that would be to take some contact paper and do it the same way I did for this. But whatever you cover, once you peel it off and once it's dyed and you put it in a bucket like that, that's what the design's going to look like.
Understood.
But you can still do it like that. I've had a little less luck with the shaving cream method as far as doing designs as well. I like the more abstract, random designs that I don't always know how it's going to turn out. Which is good and bad, you know. Sometimes I like to be predictable.
Variety is the spice of life, right?
It is. And you could do different patterns in here and everything. What's going to happen is, over time, it is. It's going to look even cooler once it's all done. What color next?
What's in the white one there?
This one? This is red.
Red?
Red
yeah,
it is.
Accent. Well, we already got pink.
That'll be alright. And sometimes the colors don't come in as well as you want them to. I haven't used pink yet before, but it should still turn out pretty good. Unless if you're mixing it with everything. Once you mix it with everything, it may or may not come through.
It'd be brown.
It could be, honestly. Unfortunately, that's how it goes sometimes. like I said, you want to get this flat. You want to make sure this looks, you don't have huge air bubbles or anything. I'm getting torn up by mosquitoes. I've had probably 5 or 6 bite me in this whole entire presentation.
You're sweet, I guess.
Not what Ashley says. So I'm just kind of, like I said, mixing this in. I do want to get a mixture of both of the colors kind of swirled in together. And so hopefully it'll look really cool when it comes out.
Oh, you're going for a yin yang thing for a second.
We could make another one. Alright, so we could do basically 2 more colors. We could do black or gunmetal.
I say gunmetal.
Gunmetal?
Sure.
I like that.
Yeah.
Metal.
Not rock.
Country.
Rock metal.
So I'm kind of just doing this sporadically, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend some of this in, but I'm also going to leave some of these blotches as is, because that leaves a really cool design. Because what happens is overnight, once you let it sit, the disc actually sinks into the shaving cream, and that's really where you get all of the what looks like it's moving like that.
Fine detail.
And so that was just a blotch that just sat in overnight, and since it sank in over a period of time, well, there you have it. That's how it works. So I'm going to just do this a little bit. These mosquitoes are absolutely
Yeah, they're
ridiculous.
all by your feet. I can see them flying around.
Yeah, my ankles are probably going to be a little swollen from how many bug bites I'm going to have. Alright, what do y'all think? You think this is good?
I think it's done. For sure.
So this is what it should look like. Just like that. However you want to do it, it all looks good. And same thing applies where you want to set it in gently. And then you let it sit and you're all done. Alright, so you want to just basically grip it with the 2 thumbs and then just set it in slowly. Now, with this, if you have any problems, you could pull it up and remove it. Once you set this one in, it's basically going to stay. The first layer of shaving cream gets on it, and it doesn't matter from there, unless you wipe it off again, but then you're basically going to have to start all over with that, because that's not how it's going to look. So with that being said, it's time to get dyeing. And just very gently, let it soak. And if you want to come over here with the camera, this is a white disc, so you could kind of see, you could see through the disc, essentially. So anything like that, that looks good. You're going to see that when it actually dyes. And that's really about it. You're going to see these pictures tomorrow, and it's going to look great. Hopefully we'll have some awesome discs to show you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of the audience.
Yeah, thanks.
And hopefully you learned something here.
That's it. I did.
Cool. Thanks for watching.